Hello, and welcome to All That Jazz. I'm Viviám María López. My guest today is an accomplished jazz organist and composer. She began her career at an early age in her native Japan. Today, she's a world-known jazz musician who has played with big names such as Jimmy Cobb, Frank West, and most recently, Lou Donaldson, just to name a few. She's known as the Queen of the Organ. My guest is Hammond B3 organist and composer Akiko Tsuruga. Welcome.
Thank you, Vivian.
A pleasure to have you here. Akiko, you were raised in Osaka, Japan. How was life growing up in Osaka?
Osaka is a beautiful place, and we have a famous baseball team, Hanshin Tigers, and also we have our own culture. You know, we love to laugh, and also we have so many soul, like blues soul. So and also great food.
Oh yes, definitely. Now at age 3, your parents gave you an organ as a gift. How did they know that you were musically inclined?
They said to me that I was always singing and I listened to the music and always clapping.
Oh.
And also my parents loved music. So they are not professional, but
they
love music.
Do you have any other musicians in your family as well?
No.
But music lovers, yes.
Yes.
And they love jazz as well?
Not really, but my grandmother, she was born and raised in Kobe, and she loved the jazz. Yes.
Now you took the electone organ lessons. What attracted you to that instrument?
I love the sound, and if my parents bought a piano for me, probably I was so into to play the piano, but somehow Japanese houses are not big as United States, so they were afraid to buy a piano because our house is really small.
You studied classical piano at the Osaka College of Music in Japan. Do you think that to be a great organist, you first have to be a great pianist, or vice versa?
To me, I wish I could learn. I wish I could study piano and organ same time.
At the same time.
Same time. When I started to go to college and play piano, my finger is not strong, and my teacher always said that you should play more strong, but I couldn't. But every time, and then I realized that when I play organ, everything's so smooth. Feels so great to touch the keyboard. But piano, I feel like I have to play correct. So.
But I did help you very much, I'm assuming, then to swift over to the organ, perhaps?
Yes.
Because of that.
Yes.
Now your beginnings in the music in the Osaka area, how were those?
After I was graduated from college, I started to take a jazz piano lesson, and friends of mine recommended me to play like a supper club in Osaka, and then I started. I met a couple of other. I met many musicians, and at that time, there is one after-hours place, which named Don Shop, which across the street from Blue Note, Osaka, and they had a jam session until 5 in the morning. And then, I started to play there, and I met many American musicians.
Now, when was it that you transitioned then to the Hammond B3 organ? And why?
Well, Don Shop had the B3 organ, and for the jam session, there are many pianists came, but not many organists. So then I started to play organ. But when I touched the organ first time, I thought, wow, that's much easier to play. And in fact, the audience loved my organ playing more than piano playing.
And how did you discover your passion for jazz?
Actually, I don't know, but not only jazz, playing organ is very easy to show my emotion. And I love sound, and I love feel, everything so smooth to me.
It's a form of expression that is important to you. And the compositions is very good. Well, when we come back, it's time for us to take our first break. When we return, Akiko's going to tell us why she moved to New York, and now how did she get her name into the jazz scene. So stay tuned.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Welcome back to All That Jazz. I'm still joined by Hammond B3 organist and composer Akiko Tsuruga. Welcome.
Thank you.
So in 2001, you moved to New York. Why did you move there?
First of all, my old girlfriends in Osaka moved to New York already. Mm-hmm. And also, I'd like to have an opportunity to play with different musicians and great drummer and singer, Grady Tate.
Oh, yes, of course.
I met Grady in Osaka, and he
sort of like,
he asked me, Akiko, you should come to New York. And then I said, hey, really? Like that.
Excellent. How would you say you got your big break in New York? I mean, it's a place filled with, all musicians going into that big city.
In New York, I had a couple of great experience, and one with Lou Donaldson.
Yes.
We played at the Thompson Square Park, maybe that's 2-3 years ago, and that was end of August, and beautiful day, and packed audience. And everybody screaming to Lou. And then, Lou said, yeah, we play good, and like that. And the second thing, I just played at the park, no, not park at the 145th Street for Jazzmobile. And they had the pack of the people, and then they were screaming our performance. And I was almost crying.
And I can imagine, and that connection with NEA Jazz Master Lou Donaldson, how did that happen? Was it someone, when you went there, that he saw you and sort of like, asked you to join the group, or how was the connection with Lou?
Well, his drummer, Fukushita Inaka, he's Japanese, and he's my mentor. And of course, Dr. Lonnie Smith is my mentor.
Yes.
And you know, after Doctor quit the blues band, they recommended me to, you know, Doctor and Fukushi recommended me to Lou. And one day, Lou came to the club in Harlem, and he stayed in front of the stage, and he listened to my music like this. And he said, after we finished the first set, he said, "Akiko, you play pretty good." And then I joined his band.
Your other influences, in addition, of course, your mentors.
Yes, of course, Dr. Lonnie Smith. You know, actually, he's my mentor. I respect him as a musician and also the person. You know, he always said that I show my life to the play music.
So in addition to your mentor, Dr. Lonnie Smith, who else are your influences?
Of course, Grady Tate and drummer Jeff Hamilton. Yes. Since we started playing together, I learned so much things from him.
Lou Donaldson named you Queen of the Organ. Wow. How does it feel to be regarded as such by such a legendary musician?
You know, when I heard it first time, I thought, really? But I'm so proud of myself. You know, I can't find a word how much I respect him, and you know, actually he made my life change.
Now, going into your albums, which I see some of them here, you've recorded about 10 albums. How do you find inspiration, or how do you draw inspiration from what makes you to create? Some of the things that make you compose new music.
Yes, I love composing music, and in, you know, living in New York, it's very easy to listen to great music. Every time I go somewhere to listen to the music, I inspired to write a new song and a new arrangement, and sometimes, you know, when I play, suddenly comes
Something
to me,
like a spray of inspiration.
Yes, thank you, God.
I love that. Now, thinking back to past or present, who would you love to play with or have played with or jammed?
Definitely Grant Green and Philly Joe Jones.
So you have an apartment in New York, and I'm assuming you have an organ there. I mean, do the neighbors complain when you're there, you know, practicing or composing your music?
No, never. You know, I don't have to play loud, and they have, you know, volume control, and even my husband is trumpeter, and he is practicing all day. But you know, we are so lucky. Never complain.
No, and New York is a special place, right?
Yes.
For music particularly.
Yes.
And I think you mentioned you had not one but two organs, right, at home?
Yes. I have 2 organs and then 2 pianos.
Beautiful. So talking about Grant Green and guitar, in our next segment, we're going to be joined by MDC Jazz Studies Professor Dr. Michael DeLito, and of course our special guest, Akiko Tsuruga. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more All That Jazz.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
And thank you for joining us again in All That Jazz. I'm still joined by Hammond B3 organist and composer Akiko Tsuruga, and now with us is MDC Jazz Studies professor Dr. Michael DeLito. Akiko, you're visiting us thanks to the Jazz at Wolfson Presents series. What does it mean to you to have played in our stage?
I never thought about that I play my music in Miami and the good stage like here. So I'm so happy, and and also I never expected I'm gonna be on the TV.
Yes, because I understand it's your first interview on TV in the United States. That's very exciting for us too.
Thank you.
Mike, Akiko's visiting us part as the visiting artist of the Jazz at Wolfson Presents. What is Jazz at Wolfson Presents?
Jazz at Wolfson Presents is a series that we started 22 years ago, where we invite jazz artists, jazz musicians that are active in their performance career, many times out of New York. We bring them down here to the college to perform for the community and the students and faculty and staff at Miami-Dade College. For the students, the idea is to give them a real-world experience of a jazz working musician.
And what are some of the big names, the famous artists that have been part of the concert series in the past?
Well, we had James Moody, saxophonist. We've had Mike Stern, guitarist, Rufus Reed, bass player, Jamie Aebersold, Adam Nussbaum, Eric Alexander, saxophonist.
Akiko, our audience is comprised of MDC students as well as members of our community. But speaking to our students, what advice would you give them as a musician as they want to embark in the music industry?
My advice is just to practice and then listen to the music and play music with, and keep playing it.
What about you, Mike? What advice would you give to those potential students?
The biggest thing is to listen to good recordings, we call it historically significant recordings of the jazz greats, Charlie Parker, Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, Clifford Brown, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Miles Davis, Joe Henderson, Woody Shaw, people like that. I recommend a lot of the music that came out of the Blue Note Jazz label from the 50s and 60s as being very important recordings. So that's what I encourage the students to do a lot of listening to that. There's so much out nowadays, and there's so much that young musicians can listen to. That's what I encourage them to do is focus on those recordings to get a feel for what we consider some of the great jazz.
Akiko, and how rewarding is a career in the music industry?
My life much happier, and music make me keep living, and music is great. So I'd like to say thank you to music and the music scene in United States. I can't find a word why they accept me. I came from Japan.
You have continued growing here in the United States in many ways, musically, and also moving in the right direction because of all the albums that you've recorded with your trio. So, Mike, for you, how rewarding is it?
Well, it's very rewarding, obviously. When you have a love for something, I've had love for music since I'm a young little boy. And the fact that I can be involved with it, 24/7, it's very satisfying. I look at it as my avocation is my vocation. And I couldn't think of doing anything else.
Mm-hmm. Akiko, you had something else you wanted to add about jazz education?
Yes. I think jazz education in United States are great. I wish I could have had the education like here, and I'd like to say that student to make a friends, make a connection, and then keep playing, and also I'd like them to take a class as much they can, because of after graduate, not many chance to play all kind of music and all kind of situation. So I think college is great.
Excellent advice, indeed. So after the Jazz at Wolfson Presents concerts, the visiting artist has the opportunity to meet with the students.
Yeah, what we do is we set up a clinic, workshop type situation where my students have prepared performance material where they do small group performances, and we have the guest artists. Sometimes the guest artists actually sit in with them and perform with them, but the idea is for the guest artists to critique the students, give advice about what they're doing right and what they could do to improve. So Akiko will shortly go over to our rehearsal space, and we have the B3 organ all set up for her.
Yes.
And the students get to perform with an exceptional B3 player, which is something that is kind of rare, even for professionals, to get to enjoy something like that. And they get that experience right here.
So Akiko, I know you're pretty excited to be able to have the opportunity to share with the students this afternoon.
Yes. I'm so looking forward to playing with new people and young people, young musicians.
Thank you, Akiko. Thank you, Mike, very, very much.
Absolutely.
And to you, friends, this is all for this edition of All That Jazz. Until next time, when we bring you All That is Jazz, I'm Viviám María López. I hope you have a great jazzy day.